Hi, today we are going to do lesson 3.10. And we are going to start with these 4 do now problems on page 194. If you have your book, open your book to page 194. Do these problems now. If you don't have your book, go ahead and pause your video. Do these before looking at the answers. So here's the answers. We have 10/10 of an apple because we cut it into 10 pieces. And we are eating 8/10 of the apple. So you're subtracting the 8/10 and you have 2/10 left. They want that answer in simplest form. So you have 1/5 of the apple is left. All right, a carton contains soup cans weighing a total of 20 pounds. Each weighs 1¼ pound. How many cans does the carton contain? So we'll have 20 whole cans divided by 1 1/4. So we're going to make this into a fraction by putting our 20 over 1. Then we are doing the wheel here. So 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So that gives us 5/4. But remember, when you divide fractions, you flip the second. So I flipped it over, 4 went on top, 5 went on the bottom. Flip the second and multiply. Before I multiply, I always check to see if I can simplify. 5 fits into 5 and 20, both 5 times, or 4, this one goes 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into 24 times, and we get 4 times 4 is 16, 1 times 1 is 1, 16 over 1 is the same as 16 cans. All right, this next one is asking us to put the positive and negative numbers into order from greatest to least. And we have 2 negative numbers and a positive number. So our positive number is going to be greatest. I'm going to put that one first. Then I have the number -1. Here's our 0. Here's our +1, and here's our -1. So I have a -1 and I have a -1 2/3. So remember, -1 and then a -1 2/3 is almost all the way to the -2. 2/3, we cut this into 3 pieces. It would be right here. So the smallest is the -1 2/3. That should be how you would put those in order from greatest to least. All right, on this one, we are reflecting across the y-axis. They start with a 0.3, -1, and we're reflecting it to the other side. So instead of going a +3, we're going to go a -3 this time. So you get a -3, -1 to reflect that point across the y-axis. All right. So today what we're going to do is compare negative numbers that are decimals and fractions. And it's always important to compare apples to apples or fractions to fractions or decimals to decimals, right? So in this one, we are going to compare these, and I'm going to put them both into tenths. So I have a -2 and a 5, -2/5. Well, to make this 5 into a 10, I multiply by 2. Whatever I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. So a -2 times 2 is a -4. All right, then I have a -4/10. This one is a -7/10, so I'm going to put my -7 up top. And I know that a -4 is greater than 7. So here, if I show you on a number line, this would be a -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. And we know that the numbers further to the negative side are smaller. So the -7 is smaller than the -4. Therefore, 2/5. This is the one with a -4. 2/5, -2/5 is greater than a -7/10. And you really have to think about this because we're used to everything being positive, and everything turns around when it's negative. So if normally a 4 is smaller than 7, right? We would be pointing to this 4, but since it's a negative number, it's actually greater than the -7. So you really have to think about number lines and what you know about numbers and which one would be furthest to the small negative side. Let's look at another one. Okay. Just a minute here. All right. So here's our share and show for today. And I think this one will help us with understanding positive and negative numbers a little bit. It says to go deeper. Busby Country is rectangular. A map of the county on a coordinate plane shows that the vertices of the county are at a -5, 8. So I go -5 and then up to 8. And 8, 8. So I go up 8 or over 8, up 8, 8, 8. 8, -10. First number always x goes over, y goes up or down. And then a -5, -10. So here's our rectangle. If you see, if we connected these lines, we would have a rectangle. It says, what is the county's perimeter? So it says, first we're going to draw the diagram. Let's go ahead and draw that. Then it says use the diagram to find the length of each side on the rectangle. Then we're going to add. So here we have 5. This is a -5, but remember when you're finding the length of the side, we're using the absolute value of -5. So it'll be 5 plus 8. So 5 plus 8 is 13. So there's 13 on this lower side. And this is a rectangle, so that would be also 13 on the upper side, up here. Now we need to figure this one out. So we went all the way down to the -10 here. So we have an absolute value. These are on opposite sides. Remember, opposite sides of that axis mean that you're going to add those together. So down here we have a -10. We're going to use the absolute value of -10 plus we move from the x-axis up to this 8. So it'll be plus 8. So 10 plus 8 is 18. 18, and there's another side that would be 18. So when we add that all together, we're going to get 62 miles. All right, then it says, what if the vertices of the county were a -5, 8? So we do a -5, 8, that's this one, an 8, 8, which is this one, an 8, -6, so this would change this, and then a -5, -6, so it would change this one. So now that is going to change what our perimeter would be because we would be getting rid of this part right here. So let's find, so this would stay the same. That would still be 13 and the top would be 13. So it'd be 13 plus 13, but this part has changed. So now we only went to a -6 instead of a -10, right? -6. So it'll be a -6 or the absolute value of -6 plus these positive 8. 6 plus 8 is 14, so it would be plus 14 plus 14, which will give us 54 miles. So see how it changes when the points change? The line got shorter, so the perimeter, or the outside, perimeter, remember, is the distance around the outside, that also got smaller. All right, on a coordinate map of Millville, a restaurant is located at, and I can use this for my workspace, at a -9, -5. So let's do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And a -9 would be about right here. And then -5, 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, and this would be the -5 here. So this would be at a -9, -5. That's where this restaurant is located. A laundry business is located 3 units to the left of the restaurant. So this is to the right, this is to the left on the map. What are the coordinates of the laundry business? So this first one is our x. This is our -9, and we want to go over 3 more spots. So one spot would be a -10, 2 spots would be a -11, 3 spots would be a -12. So it would be at a -12, and then we'd still have it on that same line, so it still would be at our -5. All right, I'm going to go to this next page and do this Think Smarter. Okay, it says, a map of a city holding the Olympics is placed on a coordinate plane. Olympic Stadium is located at the origin of the map. The origin is always 0, 0. Each unit on the map represents 2 miles. So look at our scale on the map. This is 2, 4, 6, 8. So each unit represents 2 miles. Okay, just checking on our last one, make sure that I used units correctly. Graph the location of 4 other Olympic buildings. Max said the distance between the aquatic center and the Olympic Village is greater than the distance between the media center and the basketball arena. Do you agree with him? Use words and numbers to support your answer. So let's go ahead and graph these. The Olympic Village is at -8, 4. So we go to the -8 and then up to the 4. Right here, that's the Olympic Village, OV, Olympic Village. Aquatic Center is at 8, 4, Aquatic Center. Media Center is at 4, -5, and -5 comes between the -4 and -6. And then we have a -8, -5, and that is going to be our basketball arena. And then this one was our media center. And it's asking us, Max said that the distance between the aquatic center, that's this one, and the Olympic Village is greater than the distance between the media center and the basketball arena. Now we can just look at that. Isn't this greater than this? That line is longer. So we do agree with him. We're going to agree with him. However, we need to use numbers. So you can't just say I agree and then be done with it. We need to actually find out the distance. So this one, we go from -8 all the way to a +8. So remember, when you're finding the distance and they're on opposite sides of the y-axis, you need to use absolute value, and we're adding those. So 8 + 8 is 16. And then this one, we are going from a -8, absolute value of a -8, and 4 plus the absolute value of 4. 8 plus 4 is 12. So these two are 12 units apart, and these two are 16 units apart. So 16 is greater than 12. That is why we agree. So the Aquatic Center and the Olympic Village is a greater distance, further apart, greater distance than this distance, which is closer together, a lesser distance apart. Okay, well, good luck with your assignment. I'll be around to help.